We're so lucky at Elegant Marketplace, the Divi theme store and more. We can bring you learning management systems, we can bring you Elementor, and now today we interview Robby, a lovely guy, the founder of Beaver Builder.
Today I'm with Robby from Beaver Builder, and we're going to dive in and learn all there is to know, maybe, about Beaver Builder and WordPress and our options and how it relates to Divi and all the rest. So Robby, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. Thanks so much for having me. Happy to be here. My name is Robby McCullough, and I'm one of the co-founders of Beaver Builder. We are, gosh, I think we're up to about a 10 to 12 person team, and I have three partners or three fellow co-founders. And our kind of brief history is that we used to have a web agency together. And about 2.5 to 3 years ago, we started working on Beaver Builder as a side project or something that we wanted to use internally. And then fast forward, long story short, we decided to turn it into a product, and yeah, here we are.
Here you are. So are you guys working out of the same office?
Yeah, well, no, if you can't tell, I'm here, I got all my mountain bike and guitars in the background. We used to share an office, and about a year ago, we're here in the San Francisco Bay Area, kind of closer to San Jose, if you're familiar with the area. And about a year ago, my two partners, Justin and Billy, both moved out of the area. They moved about 2 hours north. And so we made the decision to go from sharing an office to going completely remote or completely distributed. So we're all, our team's scattered throughout the world now, and we run all of our business kind of from Slack and other virtual tools, but Slack kind of replaced our physical office over this year.
Yeah. I don't know how old you are, but when I was in college, the thought of sort of being a global business out of my, a room in my house just was like, it just never ever occurred to me. So and even when I started working out of my house 8 years ago, I was sort of a lone person and a pioneer in that. And now it's like everybody's doing it. It's great.
Yeah, it's funny. My dad is a big traveler. He's a globetrotter. He loves to get around. I'm kind of getting a taste of that now that I've gotten a little older, but he's kind of said on a few occasions how jealous he is of our situation and this lifestyle. And I love it. I really think it's the future. And I love that we're getting to kind of be on the foreground of that and trying to figure out how to make it work and make it work efficiently. And, even just that I'm not driving my car and sitting in an hour of traffic and, using up gas to get to an office and back. It feels good to do this. Although that's the bright side. On the other side, it could be a little, we've been struggling this year working out the kinks, and it can be kind of like an isolating situation when you're working alone. But
right. So you were just at WordCamp in Philadelphia, right?
Yeah, correct.
And so did you meet lots and lots of users? How did that go?
Yeah, it went great. This was our third major WordCamp. So WordCamp San Francisco in 2014 was the last one in San Francisco, and then it turned into WordCamp US. And that last one in San Francisco was our first WordCamp ever. And it was when we were just kind of getting onto the scene and putting our finger on the pulse of the WordPress community. And it's funny thinking back from then till now. I mean, at that point, we knew hardly anyone. We were kind of, walking around and introducing ourselves and trying to make friends. And then since then, we've just built up this huge network of people, both users and colleagues, friends, other business owners. And it was so fun this year because every step I took, I was bumping into someone that I either had met at a previous conference or knew virtually through being on Twitter and part of the kind of online WordPress communities, and then our customers as well. I actually, interestingly, I think for your community here, I got to meet Nick Roach in person, and even before we did Beaver Builder, we were Elegant Themes customers, and we've always been a big fan of what they're doing. Even still now. So that was really cool. And yeah, he was a cool guy. We had a really good chat, and that was kind of a fun little highlight for me.
Yeah, that's a great highlight. I love it. You guys really have exploded. Do you think it's that the community was ready for the right page builder to come along, and so now Divi and Beaver Builder and have just and Elementor have just like hit the streets running, or what do you think it was?
Yeah, that's a good question. It has been a crazy amount of growth in the last couple of years, and we have seen a real shift in folks' perspectives on page builders. I used to joke that there was a lot of legacy baggage from tools like Dreamweaver or what was the one that Microsoft had? They had a page.
Front page.
Front page, yeah. And like a lot of the people that are building websites these days are, have a lot of kind of trauma from way back when with those.
I'm traumatized from front page. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So our like quick story of how we got into Beaver Builder was we had a client that wanted us to use page builder that was bundled with his theme. I don't think it's one that anyone's heard of. It was kind of a one-off thing, but we built this site for the client because we were the same. I have a development background. We're pretty much all have backgrounds in development and design and building websites. And we had that kind of stigma about page builders that you hear like, oh, no, I'd rather code it myself. I don't want to use a tool. It's a shortcut, blah, blah, blah. So that was us. funny to think back then. But so we built the page for the client, and he wanted us to use this page builder to build his website so that he could jump in and edit it. And we delivered the site to him, and we kind of had this aha moment when we started seeing him actually making the changes to the site that other clients would email us about to do for them. And we're like, wow, this is actually it saved us some time. Although not as much as we would have liked. So that was, we didn't necessarily like the tool we were using, but we saw the benefit of adding a page builder into our process. And that was what kind of sparked the idea to start working on our own from that perspective of, we were developers that hated page builders, but we wanted to find something that we could use to streamline our build process.
Yeah. Well, I think that this is a really interesting topic because it comes up sometimes in our Facebook group. I have always come from the, like when I started getting going, I would always say to clients, you work with me and you will have full access to your website. Once I launch it, you'll get a login. And last year I had a situation where I was going through some medical treatments for 8 months, and I was really kind of, not as readily available. So, but all my clients had access to their sites. So I say to people, like, don't be so protective, because if something happens to you, your client's going to need your site. But that is a very controversial. A lot of people say, I don't want my client in my site. What do you think? I think you and I are on the same page.
That's a tough one. Yeah. I have a lot of thoughts on that, but try and sum them up quickly, I guess. I'm fresh coming out of the WordCamp US, and we just watched Matt's State of the Word. And one of the things that he was mentioning is the competition from some of the proprietary players like Squarespace and Wix that are, spending millions and hundreds of millions of dollars even on advertising, and that, the downside to choosing one of those tools is that you don't own your content. With WordPress, you own your content. And we're big believers in, the kind of WordPress mission of open source and democratizing publishing. And I like that freedom. I think that it's the right way to do it. But on the other hand, when we were doing agency work, I think we maybe had a similar setup to what you're describing, where after we finished building a site, we would hand it off to our clients, and we kind of stepped back. We stepped away. Like, we were there if people needed updates. But to have a successful services business, one of the things you can do is to involve yourself in that update and maintenance and stay a part of the website as much as possible, not relinquishing the control. A good analogy maybe is photography, right? If you get a professional photo shoot done for, whatever it may be, most photographers are very, very protective over the original digital files, and you can purchase prints through them, or, they might have a watermark on your print when they display it on their website because they really want to hold on to that. That's kind of where they can continue making their money over time. So I think it's a balance, like most things, kind of balancing the freedom and the ability for your clients to own their content and own their website, with the convenience of, why they would choose an agency in the first place, and striking that balance. While difficult is kind of the secret sauce, maybe.
Right. So give us some of the benefits to Beaver Builder. You started out with sort of a clunky plugin, I guess, that you guys found from your client, and then what was on your list of, okay, we want to start here, like the text editor or the front end. Let's talk about the front end, because I think that's huge.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny because it's come a long way since back then, but that was
back then 2 years ago.
Well, yeah. It's funny to think way back when.
Yeah.
It really was only just 2 years. But yeah, the front end editors really weren't predominant in the space at all. Divi recently came out with their front end version, and then I know you had the Elementor guys on here. They're working on the front end, but that's kind of, I call us the new school or the new breed of page builders are all front end now, and that wasn't the case. And that was one of the big things that we wanted, because I don't know if you've ever used a back-end editor. It's such a pain because, well, for one, you don't get to see what you're, doing, what your changes are when you're, tweaking margins or paddings or adding images. It doesn't reflect until you, save and then go to the other end and reload the page. It's such a clunky process. So that, starting it off, that was a big one that we wanted to be on the front end. We wanted something that was powerful enough that we as developers could extend and leverage for our different clients, and have the kind of flexibility to build out whatever we needed depending on who was coming in the door, but that also had a simple enough user interface and user experience that some of our clients that maybe weren't as tech savvy or experienced working with software could still get in and have a relatively easy time getting up and started with editing their content. So that kind of flexibility and extensibility, mirrored with the kind of simple and clean user interface and experience, was another one of the kind of core philosophies or platforms that we tried to think about anytime we were deciding what to add or what not to add, more importantly.
So technically Beaver Builder is a plugin, is that correct?
Yeah, we have a theme. But our Page Builder plugin is a standalone plugin that will work with any theme. We have a free version in the WordPress repo that you can load up on any site. And then one of our packages includes our theme, which is like a very complementary. We designed it to also be kind of a very bare bones starter framework theme for people that are generally, it's a good option if you're building a lot of different sites. It has a good foundation. It's built with Bootstrap. As opposed to maybe you call it an out of the box theme that has a a kind of opinionated style and design, which is great if you just need one site and you see a theme that's beautiful that you like, you can click it and get going. Ours kind of caters more towards folks that want a consistent framework to build a bunch of different sites on top of.
Okay, so let's just talk about this for a minute. If somebody is wanting to use it as a plugin in the theme, I know they should look for themes that are responsive and full width. Are there other things that you would advise people towards? I know Genesis is a nice compatible. Is Divi compatible?
I believe so. The only conflict that I can think of that could come up with Divi is you can't use two page builders on the same page.
Right. Same thing with Elementor.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
We all kind of have that same. I wouldn't even call it a hurdle. It's just how it's like multiple editors on the same content. Just doesn't work. But yeah, to my knowledge, you can definitely use Beaver Builder with the Divi theme if you choose not to use the Divi builder. I think you can even use them together. I hate to say it, but it's been a while since I've done any testing or experimenting there, so I'm not 100% sure on that one, but I believe that's possible.
Okay. So other themes that people, I mean, I guess like WordPress 2016 or those themes, or any other sort of big names that people may already have in their toolbox?
Yeah, let's see here. I mean, choosing a theme is like, we could probably
I
chat on
know,
that.
we could talk about that all day. I'm just thinking, so people know, like, or maybe we said, make sure it's responsive, and maybe it's not that complicated. I mean, you
Yeah.
want responsive anyway, everybody.
Yeah, yeah, you do. You definitely do. I guess one overall thought there is it's kind of similar when people ask us what plugins to, there's thousands and tens of thousands of plugins. Finding something that has a history of being updated and that has good testimonials and good reviews, I think is really important.
Right.
The underscores theme is one that comes to mind, although it's been a little while. I've used to write a lot of code and was a lot more familiar with the current tools and stacks. There's probably new framework themes out there that are also really good and competitive. So yeah, the underscores theme is one from Automatic. That's a good, framework-based theme if you want to build on top of something. The 2017 theme that's coming out probably today now with WordPress 4.7 looked amazing, and it looked like it was really easy to create full width pages. So we haven't done. We tested a lot against 4.7, but specifically to the 2017 theme, I'm not sure if it's a perfect fit, but I would be willing to bet that it's going to be a really good fit. Of course, the benefit there, it's free and included with WordPress, helps a lot too.
Right, right. Okay, now if you're the Eileens of the world, you like all-in-one options. So your theme, tell us about that.
Yeah, our theme, we leverage the WordPress customizer. We were one of the earlier themes, I think, to get on the customizer bandwagon, excuse me, and move all of our theme options into the customizer. And it's a really good fit, kind of in that same sense of you can use it as the foundation for your site. And then when you hand that site off to a client, if you're building for other people, it has that nice, not drag and drop, but what you see is what you get experience with the WordPress customizer for, changing styles or changing headings, changing colors and things like that. So we leverage that, but then we also make it really easy for developers or folks to get in there and override that. Or if you choose not to use the customizer, you can still get in there and tweak the CSS and write it out by hand.
So let me ask, with the settings, can you are they portable? Can they go into different sites? I don't know how many sites like have the same font and color or whatever, but just if somebody wanted to, could they?
Yeah, you can. So there's we have a couple of presets that you can choose from that are kind of generic color and font layout combinations that we put together. We did that, just as a quick aside, we did that because the Genesis community has so many Genesis child themes I'm sure you're familiar with, but one of the downsides to using Genesis with a child theme is that if you're changing the styling on the child theme, I had a client site that I used a Genesis child theme on and tweaked it all, made it mine and customized it, but then the child theme came out with an update and I wasn't able to update it because I'd made a bunch of changes to that child theme. So we were joking there needs to be grandchildren, grandchild.
I know,
right?
Exactly.
So we tried to solve that with our presets by including some kind of different styling and aesthetic combinations as part of that parent theme.
Yeah.
And then also going back to your original question, Justin, my partner, who's our lead developer, created this really nifty plugin called the WordPress Customizer Import-Export plugin. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but it will work with any theme that uses the WordPress Customizer, and it basically just lets you export your settings and then import them. As long as you're using the same theme, you can import them in, and it will automatically, it makes the settings portable. Right. So we have that with our theme. It works great, and then any other theme that uses the WordPress Customizer, you can use that if you want to transfer your settings or reuse the same settings on multiple sites.
Okay. Do you want to give us a little tour?
Yeah, I would. um,
So you can share your screen.
let's see here. Oh, all right. There we go. Are you able to see me there?
Yeah, looks great.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I'm going to be looking off to the side because I'm running on my other monitor here.
Okay.
So yeah, I mentioned in our kind of pre-recorded chat, I don't do a whole lot of demos, surprisingly, or it's been a little while, so bear with me here. Yes, this page I just set it up real quick for us to look at. It's one of our templates, and there's a couple of ways to get into Beaver Builder. You can do it from the back end, from the WordPress admin panel, but if you're actually looking at a page, you can jump right in here into this little page builder link, and this will load up the page builder plugin. Go ahead and get this fired up here. I wonder, so my video, okay, here, I'm moving my video, our little faces preview from
Okay.
the call.
From blocking, yeah.
Okay, so this is the basic Beaver Builder interface. When you jump in, you have your content modules over here on the left, and then your working space over here on the right. This particular page is one of our templates. We have about, gosh, we're probably over 30 templates that are available now, both home pages and content pages that you can load in with a click. And the idea is that, like, let me just pop one in here so we can see what this looks like. The idea is that you can either just use these as, for some certain cases, you can just, change your text with whatever you need to put in there. Like we have a template that's for ebooks, like if you want to sell an ebook. So if you're just an author that came up with an ebook and you have no interest in, designing a website, you can load that template up and then swap the image of the book cover out with your book cover, tweak a few things and hit publish, and the site will be ready to go. The other thing is we kind of like to look at this as like inspiration too. If you're a designer, one of the first feelings is when you pop open Photoshop or Sketch or whatever your design tool of choice is, and there's just a blank page.
I know. Yeah, it's like overwhelmed with paralyzed. I totally get it.
More often than not, I think folks use these as kind of their inspiration to you can take it and leverage it and see what we're doing. But anyways, so we got about 30 templates or so, and then our interface, I'm trying to think of like what the most important things are. You can drag and drop anything around, and we have a kind of this rows and columns breakdown where you can drag in rows.
Okay, so let's say we didn't want the toolbox icon. How do we change that?
This guy down here?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So for any of our modules and rows, you can click on them to open up the settings panel here. And then the settings is kind of where all the magic happens. In particular, this is our icon module. So you can grab a new icon. We have Font Awesome as our default icon set.
Yeah, that's great.
We also, let's see, we have Ultimate Icons. I think that's a newer edition, Foundation Icons. We also have the WordPress dash icons, which are the dashboard icons that you see in the admin panel that are automatically included.
Oh, that's great.
So let's see, we'll grab a little GitHub cat here. I like that guy, even though it's very out of context now.
That's okay.
Yeah, so there we go. So we've got a new icon. You can add a link to an icon and choose whether that link's going to open in the same window or a new window. You can add some text. I think this just shows up right below. Hey there.
So Robby, if we had clicked on the Advanced tab, is that where you would put in any custom CSS?
Correct. Yeah. Well, sorry, let me take a step back. So the Advanced tab, general, this is like the icon. I'm not sure where that text goes. I'm going to have to look into that. The style is the color of the icon and kind of some of the basic things that you might otherwise do with CSS, icon size, alignment. We have mobile settings too, so you can tweak if the page is being viewed on a mobile device, you can change the sizing or the alignment of it.
Okay.
And then the advanced tab is where we do our margins and setting, or excuse me, margins and when applicable padding.
Yeah.
But then, for CSS, instead of having a CSS field, we give you the option to add an ID or a class here.
Got it.
You can add your custom CSS identifiers to anything, rows, columns, modules, and then get into your CSS editor of choice and tweak them there.
Right. I like that. I like having all the CSS in one place because you can forget where you've put things if you're me.
Absolutely. Yeah, we get that issue sometimes in our support. Someone will come through with a CSS issue, but we have to kind of dig through multiple layers of CSS. Although we do give you the option, I should mention, to add custom CSS to any page. So
Okay.
here we have this tools menu.
Okay.
And you can add custom CSS or custom JavaScript to a page. Although if you want to follow the kind of front-end developer best practices, it's usually encouraged to do all of that in one file with your theme.
Right.
Presumably.
Right. Okay. So up here where it says add content up in the right-hand screen, what happens if we click that?
So yeah, our sidebar here kind of fades in and out depending on what you're doing. So if you're working on the settings for your page, it'll kind of fade out of view there.
Yeah, that's great. So you really have a nice big clean view.
Exactly.
And I know this is like a drive-by shooting, but what if you wanted to change the background image of the guy in the suit? How complicated is that?
Yeah, no, not at all. So this particular row, let me scroll down here just for an example. So our row settings are over here. If you want to change the padding on a row, for example, this almost always pops up right above your row.
Okay.
Also duplicate a row or move it around or delete it. On this page, I'm actually hiding the theme, the header and footer. So this row is just sitting right up. It's at the top level of the page. There's nothing above it.
Okay.
So the row settings pop up down here underneath when that happens. Because, otherwise, when we were building out that feature, the row settings would get above the browser. So that's just a little
confuse everybody.
Yeah. But so if we jump into the settings here for a row, you can choose whether this is a full width row. You can change the height. You can set a specific color for a row, which is nice if your theme is generally like this theme. I think the text by default is a darker black color, and the headings are kind of like this nice pink magenta color. But let's say we wanted to use that magenta color as a row background, then you can set the color to be white or something that would contrast against that background.
Okay.
Let's see here. So moving down, you can choose the type of background available. So you can do a solid color, a photo, a video, a slideshow, or a parallax effect. And if we want to change this photo, just pop into here and see what's in our media library. Again, I don't do a lot of demos. So this is probably going to be a little bit.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, no, it's my pleasure. I should probably get better at it. I felt a little silly when I realized how long it's been, but none of this was pre-planned.
I know. Well, this is good because then people can see, like, how quickly it can be done.
Yeah. So I just grabbed another photo out of the media library there, and it pops right in. Let's see if we change this over to like parallax, for example. Let's get another photo in there. I wonder if this will be a good one.
Yeah.
I love this photo.
I do too.
There it is. So save that. All right, so then as you scroll, it might be a little difficult to notice, but instead of just the static background, you can see it's kind of got that parallax effect going.
Mm-hmm.
That effect's usually a little more noticeable if you use it on one of the rows that's closer to the middle of a page.
Right. I get that. And then you can add a button anywhere?
Yep, yeah. One of the kind of nifty things, now I want to change this back because it's harder. Let me scroll down. I'll go to a different, a different row. So we just came out with a new update today, literally about 10 or 15 minutes before we jumped
Oh
on
my
the call.
gosh, thank
We
you.
pushed it out. So that was great timing. We're up to 1.9 now.
Okay.
And we're naming this release Shasta, which was named after the Shasta Dam up here in Northern California.
Okay.
We just started naming our releases to make them a little easier to talk about. And being Beaver Builder, we choose dam names, like names of famous water dams, I should say. Right? Not those damn names. So I hope this isn't the word DAM dam.
Not those damn Yankees.
Yeah, exactly.
As a Red Sox fan, I would say. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, again, another conversation we could jump into.
Yeah, exactly.
We're big fantasy baseball.
Oh, are you?
In our office? Yeah. It's kind of. Well, another quick aside, I think fantasy baseball has been an awesome kind of culture building, team building activity that we do that lends itself really well to remote teams, although not so much internationally. Some of the guys that we have out of the States make fun of us for, the boring American sport, but it's a fun one.
No, that fantasy sports, I wish I got into building a fantasy sport website.
Oh, right.
I wouldn't be sitting here with the gray sky behind me. I'll tell you that right now.
We had a client a long time ago who we built a CrossFit blog for him. And at the time, I'd never heard of CrossFit. And he was saying, this is going to be big. This is it. I want to get into it. And sure enough, that's probably when we were doing client services, that was probably the highest trafficked website that we built just because it just exploded. So.
Right. It's fun to be in on the ground floor of those things, isn't it?
Yeah, on the right side of a wave.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, were you going to show me how to add a button?
Yeah, or if I can, let me do one quick feature too.
Yeah, do it all.
This is a new feature we have. So there's the whole kind of row and column dynamic. We never had the ability to do nested columns before. Like this example, you have the one column with text and a button on one side and then an image on the other. If you wanted to have this kind of layout where you have the text on one side and then breaking this up into two columns, that was never doable before. And I'm really, really excited because we finally figured this out where you can actually drag a column set into another column.
Get out.
Yeah, that's really exciting. That was one of our...
That is so exciting. How many you had a bunch of column options too, didn't you?
Yeah. So you can do obviously the one column all the way up to 6 columns. And then I believe if you keep like dragging them in, you can get up to 12 columns total.
Wow, that is great.
Whether you want to have 12 columns is a different story. But
as soon as you don't, that's the first thing people would ask.
Yeah, right. So yeah, instead of dragging our existing button in, I'll just grab a button module here and pop it in so we can kind of see how this works. Okay, so there it is. Got our new button.
Okay.
We can change the text and say, hey there, click me.
Right. So frequently I see people asking, can I have buttons side by side on a hero image? So yes, you can.
Yeah. The columns and columns update is going to make that even easier too. If you want to, have your text on the one side and then maybe a set of buttons on the other. That's a really good example of actually something that wouldn't have been easily doable before our latest update here.
Yeah. Congratulations. That's great.
Thanks. Yeah. All the credit goes to our development team. It was one of those feature requests that it was at the top of our list. We used to have a system where you could vote for features, although we're kind of phasing that out. But it was the most voted, most requested feature ever. And we tried to figure out a nice way to do it, both on the front end and on the code that's generated on the back end. And it took a little bit of time to kind of come up with something that we were proud of to put out there. But we have this kind of parent and child column dynamic that we're doing in this release that we're really happy with. So
first of all, congratulations. That is great. And I can't even imagine like making it all happen. What would happen if we looked at this on the dashboard end?
What
do you see? Or do you just always work on the front end?
Well, yeah, here I can show you. There's still some things that you need to do, like if you want to edit the page slug or something like that, that's something you'd still need to do on the back end.
Okay.
Although the one of the things that it used to be one of the things that we did a lot differently, although a lot of people are doing similar now, is if you deactivate Beaver Builder, we'll port all of your content back into the WordPress editor as best we can in just vanilla HTML. So we're not using short codes, and we're not using kind of any proprietary formatting that would prevent you from having access to that content if you decide to choose a different page builder. But let's see. See, I jumped back into the WordPress admin here. You can see when the page builder is active, it kind of takes over the WordPress editor here.
Okay.
But if you wanted to just like change your page title, or like I was saying before, the slug, or if your Beaver Builder works on custom post types and posts as well. But if you're doing something like a WooCommerce product maybe, or a custom post type that has custom fields, you can still access them all and edit them from the back end.
Got it. And do you publish from the front end?
Yep. Yes, you do. We can get back in there. Actually, we breezed right over it, but I published the page we were working on right before I to kind of get out of the page builder. I published it. There we go. But yeah, for publishing, you just go up to this done menu here, and then you have a couple options. You can discard your changes and exit. You can save your changes and exit, which is similar to a draft. You can be working on a page kind of behind the scenes and then save it, but then choose not to publish it until later. And then the big button here is to just publish what you've been working on, and then it will go live to all your users.
And is it the same menu under in the dashboard that you would expect to see?
The saving for Beaver Builder, like when you publish a page here, this is kind of our own UI. It's similar to the WordPress draft system, where you can either save as a draft or publish live. But then, yeah, we don't have any way to edit any of the Beaver Builder content on the back end. It's all on the front end.
Okay. But then let's say, I know this page does not have a navigation, but let's say we had our typical home about services blog. You would access that setup under your appearances tab in the dashboard?
Yeah. I mean, in 9 out of 10 websites, you're correct. Like I was mentioning earlier, on this particular page, I just hid the default theme.
Right, which is totally great.
Some folks, like I just recently built a website for my mom because she's starting a therapy practice and needed a website. And instead of doing a multi-page setup just to get her started, we did a single page, something really similar to this, where I hid the default header and footer, and built the page out. Or actually, maybe I might have done 2 pages, because I remember I added 2 links, a menu with Beaver Builder that linked between them. So there are a lot of people and ways that you can do your entire site in Beaver Builder and just skip the whole theme. But yeah, for the most part, you would still go into the appearance or the customizer and edit your menus from there.
So how many layouts do you have in your little arsenal available to somebody who uses Beaver Builder?
Yeah, we have, I believe, like 20, a couple dozen of we call them the landing pages, which would presumably be the first page you get to on any site. And then we also have content pages, which are things like about pages or contact pages, design portfolio, a team page. And we added, I'm not familiar with, because we just added several more of these content page templates, like this one that I had when we first loaded up the page. We just added those in 1.9, so they just came out. I think we added maybe 7 or 8 more to the maybe 15 or so that we already had. So I think it's safe to say we have over 40 pre-designed templates available, somewhere in that neighborhood.
And that's included when you buy the advanced Beaver Builder, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
the templates aren't available in the free version that's in the WordPress repo, but
Mhm.
they're available in all of our premium packages. So if you use the page builder on a different theme, all of our templates are designed to inherit as much of the styling from the theme as possible. So, if your heading H1 font size is whatever, 36 pixels or 40 pixels, we try to be kind of like style and theme agnostic and allow the theme to dictate the style as much as possible.
Okay.
um, but then yeah, they all of our examples on our webpage are using the Beaver Builder theme. So we get this question sometimes, if you want to have your template look exactly like the ones in our demo, it's going to be a lot easier if you use our theme.
Right. Oh, definitely. So what happens if you want to create your own? Like, let's
Create your own template.
create your own template.
Yeah, you can certainly do that. There's a couple of different levels and layers that you can, like for example, if you build out a home page, you can save it as a template, and it will show right up in this template selector with all of ours.
Okay, perfect.
What we also have is row and module templates. So a good example, I wonder if this site has one. Okay, so like maybe this little footer call to action here with the button that says, let's start talking about your product. If you wanted to use just this row on a bunch of different pages on your website,
Yep.
you can save this as a row template, and then you can drag that out into all of your, if you have 8 pages on your site, you can use it. We also have a feature called global templates, so you can set it as a global, and then what that means is if you edit it in one place, all the changes will cascade to all the instances of it on your site.
Yeah, that's perfect. I love that. And these are all portable as well.
Yes. So for all of our templates, we leverage the WordPress import-export tool.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you've ever exported a site using the WordPress dashboard. You kind of have it in the tools menu, and it makes you install this plugin. But it spits out an XML file, and I guess I don't want to jump into too much. I feel like I could show you if you want. It's kind of boring, is why I'm avoiding it. But yeah, we
But it
have an
can be
option.
done.
Yeah, it can be done. You can
Yeah.
export all your templates along with all your posts and pages that are part of the native WordPress import-export tool.
Okay, cool. Do you know if anybody's using this, or any bloggers using your theme or Beaver Builder?
Yeah, oh, certainly. Yeah, we have, I think we're coming up on our 200,000th site that's running Beaver Builder, between the free version and the repo and our premium versions. A couple months ago, we just started doing a partnership with GoDaddy, actually, where they're including the free version of Beaver Builder with this new onboarding tool that they've built for their WordPress hosting. And that's really slick. We have a couple of, one of our favorite sites, favorite kind of showcase examples is a site by Disney, actually. It's their fan club site called D23. And that one is, to our knowledge, it's the biggest WordPress membership site in existence. And they're running Beaver Builder on that one. So we're really,
That's a feather in the cap.
yeah, we're pretty proud of that one.
Yeah.
The guys over at Crowd Favorite are the ones who built that site, and they're super talented agency. They do some amazing work for some really impressive clients and names. And their site, I think their homepage also is another really cool example. They have a really talented designer that built a really beautiful page with Beaver. It's one of those pages where I looked at it and I was like, "There's no way this is Beaver Builder." And then I jumped into the source and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it is!"
That's
So,
great.
really fortunate to have some of those partnerships going, and yeah, the family of Beaver Builder users is just getting bigger and bigger every day. It's wild.
Yeah, these communities around themes and plugins and products is really outstanding.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It kind of blindsided us. We have a Facebook group, and I know we were talking numbers. You guys have a huge Facebook group. I think we're just about to get into like the 4,000 mark, but it was started by one of our customers or users, and he said, hey, I want to do this, and I wish I could say it was my idea to start the Facebook group, but it wasn't.
You were
But it's
busy.
just
You were coding.
yeah, right. But no, it's wild to see it flourish, and it's just a genuine. I think a lot of the kind of micro communities in the WordPress space kind of mirror that the community feel you get from WordPress in general, and it's a lot of people that are out there, that are really generous with their time and really generous with their knowledge, and it's just a really friendly place to be, and we're really fortunate that, yeah, we're both in that space and that our community kind of mirrors that attitude.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Before we move on, I'm gonna do another drive-by, and I want to know what's your favorite feature. I mean, I think mine now is that column within a column. I love that. But hopefully, I didn't steal yours.
Interesting. No, no, thank you. That's great. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of that one as well, especially with all the work that we just came to the end of it. Let me see here. My favorite feature. Well, okay, I think I have a good one. So we have the ability and some documentation available for developers that want to create custom modules. So maybe a good example would be if you were building a website for let's see, for like a real estate, that would be good, a real estate agent, and they needed like a custom custom feed that was pulling in, like, what is it, the listing, there's a
MLS.
Yeah, MLS listings, something like that, and you needed some custom functionality. You can build out a custom module. So it's basic, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, but you can choose what settings you have available, your client has available, and if you need to pull the MLS listing or the Zillow listing or something like that, we make it relatively easy to do that. And then, yeah, kind of going back to what we touched on before, we have relatively small list of modules that are built into the core of Beaver Builder.
That looks like a lot. What is that, like 15?
15 sounds about right. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, we're working on a new UI to kind of streamline that and make it a little easier to access, but we've had requests for hundreds of modules that people kind of wish they had.
I get it.
It's been really hard to pick and choose what we allow, but in that case, we always are happy to tell people that you can create a custom module, right. And then there's actually a whole community or kind of business popping up around making third-party modules for Beaver Builder and extensions. So a lot of people that will maybe make something for a client will release it for free and share it with our Facebook group. And then there's also been a couple of companies that are creating custom modules that they sell as extensions to Beaver Builder.
That's great.
So yeah, with the third-party community has really been flourishing in the last 6 months or so. I think the first guy that started selling them and starting a business around it, I want to say it was about a half a year ago that he came on the scene. And since then, I think there's maybe, there's almost 10 kind of major players that have some really cool offerings and are building businesses around Beaver Builder. And that custom module functionality, along with the template functionality, being able to save and export a template has really enabled that to happen. So right. That's been a really cool feature from my perspective.
Yeah, definitely. Anything you want us to know about the new release or anything else that's going on? I'm not going to ask you what's next because you just launched 20 minutes ago. So.
Oh, we have some cool stuff cooking. I mean, I can tell you what's next. Like this long list of modules we were just looking at. We're coming up with we're putting a lot of time into revamping our user interface and trying to make it a little more, particularly for the guys that are making third-party modules. If you install one of their extensions, this list admittedly gets a lot longer. So we're going to kind of clean things up and compact things and make it a little bit easier to use. That's kind of our goal. So that's something we have cooking. We're really excited about. As far as what to know, one of the things that I think we really take a lot of pride in is our support and our community.
Mhm.
We have a really, really excellent support team now. It used to be just the three of us we had a shared email inbox, and when we were sitting in an office and an email would come in, we'd like raise our hand and be like, oh, I got it. I got this one, or you get that one. We had to grow up from that. and But yeah, long story short is we really take a lot of pride in offering good support, and the community around our product. A lot of the questions we see in our Facebook group aren't support in that they're like reporting bugs or having issues, but it's people that are kind of learning new techniques for building websites. Like, someone might find a particular design on a site that they really like, and they'll come in and say, hey, I saw this website, I like it. Is there a way I can do this with Beaver Builder? And we have that big group of people, the kind of hive mind that can help point people in the right direction, along with our dedicated support team that's available for issues and bugs and conflicts with other plugins and themes and things that kind of come up in the day-to-day using WordPress and building sites.
And how about your knowledge base? Is it videos or documentation, or how are you educating new users?
We used to have a pretty extensive video library along with our text library, but the videos are a little harder to keep up to date, and things have been kind of growing and changing so quickly. We're starting to kind of move away, at least in the short term, move away from videos and just go all text. We have a knowledge base. We just kind of overhauled and revamped our knowledge base, actually. That was one of our big projects over the last maybe 3 or 4 months, along with all the work the dev team were doing. We have a new knowledge base up. It's using Help Scout's knowledge base software.
Oh, great.
So they have a really awesome search feature. That was the one thing we were lacking. We used to have one running through WordPress, but the search kind of left a little bit to be desired.
Yeah.
But we have a dedicated staff member now on our team that writes documentation, which has been great because we all kind of dreaded it.
I know it's hard.
It is really hard.
It is a
It's
real
hard.
talent. I know.
Oh, yeah. So she was great. She came to us. She was one of our users and had a really extensive experience writing technical documentation. I think she was with Oracle for many, many years, and she's a fabulous writer. Really bright and intuitive. She's doing such a better job than any of us ever could. We're really fortunate to have her on board. So that said, yeah, we'd like to do more videos, but we're kind of holding off until we launch our new UI that I mentioned we're working on.
Yep.
Because anything we do now, we're probably gonna will be obsolete in a couple of months when we launch our big UI change. So after that, it's kind of on our roadmap to get more tutorial videos and have a little bit more video content available. But yeah, it's mainly text right now.
Okay, that totally works. All right, so the offline Robby, I see your mountain bike, I see your guitars. Do you have any time to enjoy any of that?
No, not anymore. No, this is all the history of my old hobbies. No, I'm kidding. We used to. I miss that my buddies moved away. Like I was saying, the downsides of remote work, because we used to sneak out a little early on Fridays and do a weekly mountain bike ride.
Oh,
and that was really fun.
Yeah.
And I don't get out there as much on my own, but yeah, I like to get out and mountain bike. I like to strum my guitar. These days, actually, in the last year, one of the things I've been doing a lot is traveling, just because I have the opportunity to. Since we're working remotely, I can work from anywhere. So I've been doing a lot of WordCamps and doing a lot more traveling than I ever did.
All right, what's the best place you've been so far, or your favorite?
Oh, man. I think I would have to give that to New Orleans.
Oh, that's a good one.
Cabo actually might be a really close second. We just got done with Cabo Press, which was an event that actually, should I go? Maybe I can pop back and stop the screen share here.
Yeah.
Is that all right? Or
yeah,
what do you
think that was Chris Badgett there?
Yes, yeah, Chris Badgett was there. He's this was our second year doing Cabo Press, and we got to meet Chris the first year, and he was one of the guys we really we had some really good kind of late night discussions with him and got to know him really well, and we're really excited to see him again this year. But yeah, New Orleans was a blast. Cabo was a blast. I got to see Toronto this year, which was really cool. And Philadelphia, which just coming from WordCamp US, is a really, really nifty city.
Yeah,
A lot
I
of
love
history.
Philly. Did you have a cheesesteak?
Oh yeah, that's like all I ate. I had way too many cheesesteaks. I need to get on the mountain bike and burn some off, I think. Yeah.
That's great. All right. Well, I really appreciate you giving us this personalized introduction to Beaver Builder. It's really kind of you. I know today's been a hectic day, and I appreciate you slotting me in.
No, not, yeah. I mean, right back at you. Thanks so much for the invite. This was really fun. And yeah, sorry. I'm glad I got a little time to practice my demo skills. It's been a while, so I was a little clunky, but yeah, nothing like actually doing something to get better at it. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anytime. We'll see you soon.
All right. Take care, Eileen.